Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy for the Nintendo Entertainment System played on the Wii Virtual Console. It's time for Marty, Wimbley, Fibbs, and Milo to head to Elfland. We've heard a little bit about Elfland before, that the Royal Treasury Key was given to the Elf Prince for safekeeping. So here we are, we're finally in Elfland. Save our prince. Uh-oh, what's going on with the prince? There's a lot of good stuff to buy here in Elfland. So one of the first things you want to buy is that silver sword. That's going to be our main purchase. But we'll make two smaller purchases here real quick. We'll get some iron nunchucks for Wimbley, and then we'll get a large knife for Milo. Those are just minor purchases, but they will definitely increase the attack power of both of those characters. So first major purpose will be that silver sword for Marty. So this Elfland also has two magic shops, level 3 and level 4 magic. So there's going to be a lot of money. We're going to have to grind a lot to get a lot of money to purchase those spells. Spells are really, really good because, as you see here in the level 3 black magic, we have Fire 2 and Lit 2. Those spells actually multi-target, so they can take out a large group of enemies, so that's really, really good. This is a tomb. This is the tomb. And we have a little Easter egg here. Here lies Ogre. 837 to 866. Rest in peace. Ogre being the canon name of the hero for the Dragon Quest games. And Dragon Quest was the big rival, I guess, to Final Fantasy over in Japan. So they were run by different companies. Final Fantasy was Square, and Dragon Warrior was Enix. Our prince was to become the king of Elfland. Eventually, though, Square and Enix merged, so they became Square Enix. So now the same company's putting out both of those games. Sword and armors made of silver are very powerful. Yeah, normally you won't be able to get silver gear until a few towns later. One of the towns, Crescent Lake, actually, where Lucan went after delivering his prophecy. But we can get the silver sword here, so that's nice. Astos wears the sky and lurks in seclusion. Who's Astos? Long ago I wandered to the northwest. I found an ancient castle that was so spooky, I left immediately. Sounds like we're gonna have to go there. Here's our item shop. We're going to want to buy some heal and pure potions. There's a lot of enemies around here that can poison us, so... The prince must be wake soon, or the power of the dark elf will dominate. So here we have the magic shop on level 5 black magic. No, 4. The prince must wake soon, or the dark elf will dominate. No, we want to get Ice 2 and Fast. Fast is a really good spell. I've been talking about getting 32 hit percentage to get an extra attack for your characters. Fast does the same thing. You cast Fast on a character, it gives them an extra attack. So really good for melee characters. So we got these bracelets here. We're going to want to get a copper bracelet to replace the cloth armor for Milo and Fibbs. So you can also get some hats, some caps. Everybody can wear them, so a small little defensive boost for our characters. Whatchamacallit? Eventually we're gonna have Wimbley not have any armor, because this armor that we get right now, it's pretty poor defensively, and eventually Wimbley, his armor class will be his level. So there are certain points where your black belt, if you're using one, is going to want to go, unarmored. And at about level 10, he'll also want to go unarmed, so by then his fist will be doing more damage than his, any weapon that he can equip, so. So here's the Elfland Castle. Astos put the prince to sleep, please save him. Alright. So, turns Astos is a... Without warning, Astos attacked our castle. Our prince was laid under a curse, and our treasury ransacked. So it turns that Astos must be a bad guy. He must be that dark elf that people are talking about. So, gotta find him. The Cave of Dwarf is at the west end of the Aldi Sea. Well, we already went to the Dwarf Cave to get a little bit of treasure on the last episode. So here's the sleeping prince. He's ZZing it up there. Sawn wood. For 5 years, the prince has slept under Astos' spell. Only herb can wake him up. Well, I believe we were told that Matoya, the witch, has an herb. But she can't see. So this is going to be a really long fetch quest. We're going to have to find the crystal to allow Matoya to see if we want to get the herb to wake the prince so that we can get the Treasury Key. And we need the Treasury Key because that'll allow us to access the TNT that's apparently stored in Corneria's treasure vault. The treasure room was locked with the mystical key. So it looks like we're going to have another place we've got to return once we get the mystical key. So yeah, once we get that TNT, we can give it to Narek the dwarf so we can make that passageway, the canal, so that we can get to the outer sea and start trying to restore light to the darkened orbs. So we have a new type of ogre here, the green ogre. So yeah, you can't really confuse him for a grape ogre like several of the other GR characters. So like the imps and the wolves that look more purple than green. So, but that ogre, definitely green. I like how they coordinate, they color coordinate their clubs with their skin color. So, But green ogre, not too much more difficult than a regular ogre. So we're going to be fighting a lot of ogres to the east of Elfland. Ogres appear there pretty frequently. So they're really good for, gaining experience and gold, so. Once we get that, maybe another level or two on Marty and the silver sword, we'll be able to, Marty will have 2 attacks, and he can almost take out an ogre by himself. So. And then after the silver sword, you probably want to start buying level 2 magics. Preferably fire 2 would be the first one you'd want to get for Milo. Because ogres are often accompanied by creeps. Creeps are weak against fire, so if you run into, say, like an ogre and 3 creeps, cast the Fire 2 spell, you'll take out all the creeps, do a lot of damage to the ogre, and probably by the time you can afford Fire 2, Marty will be hitting for 2 hits and can finish off the ogre, so it'll definitely make grinding much quicker. So we're going to head to that spooky castle in the northwest. That guy said it's spooky, so obviously that means we need to go there. Because, when you're told not to go somewhere in a game, you have to go there. So, it's all abandoned, there's a bunch of bats. There's a king here, what's he gonna say? Astos double-crossed us, go south to the Cave of Marsh to retrieve the crown, then bring it directly back to me. Alright, well we have our destination, the Marsh Cave, but we are definitely not strong enough for the Marsh Cave. The Marsh Cave is a pretty big dungeon. A lot of people say it's the kind of the difficulty spike point in the game, so it's the first place where we're really going to have to do some grinding. Probably want to get to about level 10. That'll allow us to afford most of the spells and equipment that we need in Elfland. And pick up the pure and heal potions that we need. So, yeah, the Marsh Cave, it's a pretty big, long cave. And a lot of the enemies there can deal status ailments. There's the poison status, which of course we need the pure potions to heal up. There's some enemies that can paralyze you, so you'll be taking damage and won't be able to attack back. There's some enemies that deal with dark status, but remember, dark is bugs, so it ain't gonna hurt. So here's another new enemy that can deal a status effect. The asp, it's a snake, so naturally it can poison you. So that's what the poison touch means. It means that when it hits you, it has a chance to cause poison. So one of the annoying things is when you're poisoned, it puts the poison character in the back row, so you have to heal the poison, and then you have to rearrange your party. So remember when I keep Marty and Wimbley up front, Marty because he has the best defense, Wimbley because even though he has kind of lower defense, right now comparable to the mages, Fibbs and Milo, the black belt tends to get vitality on every single level, and vitality determines the amount of hit points you gain. So the black belt is one of the few characters that is pretty much guaranteed, if you max out level, to max out their hit point total at 999. So even though he will not have like the highest armor rating, he has a lot of hit points to absorb damage. So remember, whoever's in the first slot, Marty's slot, gets 50% of the attacks, 25% for whoever's in Wimbley, and about 12.5 for Fibbs and Milo's positions. Like I said in the one episode, it's a little different. It's like 12.7 and 12.3, but you know, for intents and purposes, it's half for the first slot, 1/4 for the second, and 1/8 for the third and the fourth slot. So, yeah, Wimbley's poison here. To heal poison in battle, you have to use the drink command. You would think that you would have to use the item command to, you know, select a pure potion, but items are used through the item command in future games. In this game, you have to select drink. So as you can see, Wimbley is put in the back row, so we're gonna have to readjust our line, but you can do that by just pressing the select button. So pressing select brings up this menu, and you can just select a character with A, and then select the second character with the A button, and it'll move them around. So, alright, well, we explored that spooky castle, and the Marsh Cave is over to the west of that mountain range. Naturally, it's in a place surrounded by a bunch of marshes. So marshes can be, you know, swampy, poisonous areas, so it makes sense there's going to be a lot of enemies in there that can poison you. So another reason why we're going to need a lot of those pure potions. So, well, we'll be hopping back and forth to heal up here at the Corneria Inn. Now, most of the grinding I'm going to be doing is going to be in the plains to the east of Elfland. However, once we get to around like level 9, and Marty and Milo have Fire 2 spell, and Fibbs gets the Harm 2 spell, what we can do is we can go to this place called the Peninsula of Power to the east of Provoca. The way that enemies are loaded onto the map, they're called different regions, and they're regions that are based on a square. So in certain squares, they have a certain encounter table. There's a high-level encounter area to the north of Provoca, and the square extends down into 4 tiles to the east of Provoca. And there's some really tough enemies there that are way too hard for most characters to take advantage of. However, some of the enemies in that area that appear are undead, so they'll be weak to both Fire 2 and the Harm 2. There's also some enemies that are weak to Fire 2 that aren't undead, so we'll be able to wipe out enemies that are much stronger than us by targeting that elemental weakness. So there's some Frost Wolves that are weak to Fire 2. They come in large packs. There are zombie bulls, which are undead, so they're weak to Fire 2 and Harm 2. And then there's trolls, and they are weak to Fire 2. So now we have a new enemy there, the Odd Eye there. What's really annoying about them is see their attack, 100% for gaze. They use a special skill. And that special skill is called Gaze, and what that does is it paralyzes your character. So Fibbs got hit there earlier by the Gaze, and he just got paralyzed. He wasn't able to act. So when it was his turn to do something, he just stood there. So eventually Gaze, the paralyzation wears off in battle, so that's good. But what's not good, of course, is having to have a character go several turns without being able to do anything until the paralysis wears off. So, yeah, try to get rid of those Odd Eyes early. Good thing with them is they have really low hit points, only 10 hit points, so even somebody like Fibbs and Milo can take them out. So, Fibbs still using his hammer, so even though he didn't get an upgraded weapon, he still probably does more damage than Milo, because I mean it's a hammer, hits pretty hard. So I guess that goes back to a lot of these. This game was based on Dungeons and Dragons, so the white mage is kind of the cleric class, and in Dungeons and Dragons, clerics aren't supposed to use bladed weapons. They have to use bludgeoning weapons like maces and hammers. So that's where I guess they have Fibbs and white magic's users in general attack with like hammers and staffs, and bludgeoning weapons. So it's a carryover to Dungeons and Dragons, or from Dungeons and Dragons. Similar to the spell progression here in Dungeons and Dragons, based on your level, you have a certain amount of spells that you can cast. So like at level, I don't know, like level 3, you can only cast like 2 first level spells and 1 second level spell. So that's why there's no magic point system in this game like there are in all the future Final Fantasies. So they just they went with the spells per day based on your level. Now we got the silver sword there for Marty. Unfortunately, he's still 2 percentage points away from the 32, the magic number 32, but in one level he will gain that, because Red Mage gains 2 hit percent points per level. So once we gain that level, he'll be able to start doing 2 attacks. So, and that'll definitely help with the grind for the ogres. So just to save some money, because we're going to have to be buying a lot, we're going to usually be shooting across the ocean here to heal at the inn and save our game at Corneria. So, but I'm going to be doing most of that leveling off screen, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care, have a good day. Bye!